Are you the man mommy said used to love her? That single question spoken by a little girl over a crackly phone line shattered everything Dylan Mercer thought he knew about his past and his future. He was a billionaire too busy for regrets until a stranger's voice called him Daddy. What began as a missed interview turned into a discovery that would unravel secrets, challenge a courtroom, and test what it truly means to be a parent. But what if the child isn't legally his? What if someone powerful wants to take her away? And what if the only thing that can save her is him? Stay to the end, because what happens in that courtroom will leave you breathless. And the final 5 words from a 6-year-old girl, they just might break your heart. Dylan Mercer ran his company like he ran his life, precise, ruthless, and always on schedule. He didn't waste time on second chances, especially when it came to hiring. So when a job applicant failed to show up for her 3rd and final interview, he crossed her name off the list without a second thought. He leaned back in his Seattle high-rise office, ready to delete the last voicemail from her file. But then his assistant buzzed in. "Mr. Mercer, you asked me to try that number 1 last time." Someone answered. Dylan raised an eyebrow. The applicant, no, a child, a little girl. Dylan frowned. "Put it through." A second later, a tiny voice came through the speakers, soft but clear. "Hi, Mommy's not here right now. She's sick." "Who is this?" Dylan asked, startled. "My name's Lily," she said. "Mommy said you might call." He sat up straight. "Where is your mom?" "She's in the bathroom. She cries a lot. She didn't eat dinner yesterday. I gave her crackers." Dylan's throat tightened. This wasn't a scam. The girl was too real. Then came the sentence that would haunt him. "Are you the man Mommy said used to love her?" Silence. "Your name is Dylan, right?" she continued. "Mommy said that was your name a long time ago." Dylan's pulse thundered in his ears. "What's your mommy's name, April?" "April Coleman." Everything inside him went still. That name. A woman he hadn't seen in over 7 years. He stood up, knocking over his coffee cup. "Where do you live?" Lily hesitated. "Greenwood, near the laundromat. Apartment 2B. Dylan grabbed his keys. The ride to Greenwood felt longer than any boardroom negotiation. His driver offered to stay, but Dylan told him to circle the block. This wasn't a business call. The apartment was on the 2nd floor of a rundown building. The hallway smelled like mildew and cheap takeout. He knocked. A few moments later, the door creaked open, and there she was. April, older, thinner, but still with those defiant eyes he once knew. She blinked, stunned. "What are you doing here?" "Your daughter answered the phone," he said. "She told me you were sick." April's face crumbled. "She wasn't supposed to." Dylan stepped in without asking. The apartment was small, clean, but worn. A folded couch doubled as a bed. Toys neatly arranged on a shelf. A cracked window with plastic taped over it. Lily peeked from behind a curtain and smiled. "You came," Dylan knelt beside her. "Hey there, Lily." April grabbed his arm. "Don't do this." He stood slowly. "Do what play, hero. Show up after all these years and act like you didn't disappear." Dylan's jaw tightened. "I didn't even know." "You didn't want to know," she snapped. A long silence. "I didn't tell you," she finally said. "You were building your empire. I was just collateral." And now he asked, "What is this? I'm dying, Dylan." The words landed like a blow. April looked away. "It's my kidneys. I've been waiting on the transplant list for a year. I thought I had more time." "And Lily?" he asked, voice barely a whisper. April's hands trembled. "She has no one else. My mom passed. I didn't want her in the system. That's why I applied at your company. I thought maybe if I could just get a foot in the door." "You should have told me. I tried. But by then, it felt like too much. Like maybe I didn't deserve your help." Lily wandered over, holding a worn-out drawing. "Look what I made." Dylan took it with shaky hands. It was a picture of a stick-figure family, a woman, a little girl, and a man, labeled Mommy Me Daddy. That night, Dylan sat in his car outside her building long after the lights went off. Everything in his life, his penthouse, his empire, his routines suddenly felt hollow. How had he gone 7 years never knowing he had a daughter? How could April, the only woman who ever knew the real him, be dying alone? And could he even be what that little girl needed now? Thanks for watching. Sorry for the interruption, but we hope you will help us improve our content in the future. What would you do if a child called you and claimed to be your daughter? Comment "I'd go" if you believe Dylan did the right thing showing up. And tell us, where are you watching from? Your stories and your cities inspire us to write more like this. Share this video if you believe everyone deserves a second chance, even when it comes too late. The next morning, Dylan Mercer stood in the sterile hallway of Ridgeview Medical Center, staring at the woman he once left behind. April Coleman lay in a hospital bed, her skin pale, her energy dimming like a fading candle. But she didn't complain. Not once. She simply asked for one thing: don't make Lily feel like she's a burden. Dylan couldn't look her in the eyes. She's not. Then prove it. April's doctor, Dr. Monica Hale, a sharp but compassionate nephrologist, explained the situation in clinical terms. April's renal failure has advanced. Her only real hope now is a transplant. She's been on the wait list too long. The chances of a donor match are extremely low unless it comes from family. Dylan barely breathed. What do you mean? Monica folded her hands. You share a child. Biologically, you may be a partial match. If we test you and you qualify, we could save her life. His head spun. He came here thinking he'd write a check. Instead, they were asking for something else. His body, his blood, his time, his soul. That afternoon, Dylan returned to his penthouse in downtown Seattle. He stood in the middle of his living room, soaring ceilings, floor-to-ceiling windows, curated silence, and realized it had never felt more like a cage. He picked up a framed article from Forbes, The Relentless Rise of Dylan Mercer. He dropped it into the trash. At the hospital the next day, Dylan submitted to the full battery of tests: blood work, tissue typing, cross-matching. He waited hours pacing the waiting room, feeling like a schoolboy hoping for a passing grade. When Dr. Hale returned, her face was unreadable. You're not a match for April, she said. Dylan's heart sank. But you are for Lily. He blinked. What April had never mentioned it, but Lily had been diagnosed a year ago with a rare blood disorder inherited from her maternal grandfather. She was stable for now, but at risk. We didn't plan on testing her, Monica said. But when your labs came in, we noticed something. You're a nearly perfect match for her, not just for future compatibility, but as a preventative donor. A preventative for what? If she ever goes into crisis, Monica said carefully, you might be the only one who could save her. You're what we call a genetic safeguard. Dylan leaned back stunned. So, I wasn't brought here to save April. I was brought here for her. That night, Dylan walked April back to her room after dialysis. I want to be part of her life, he said. April didn't answer right away. You were gone for everything, she whispered. The ultrasounds, her first steps, the night she asked why her daddy didn't come to school plays. I know, he said. I can't undo that, but I can be here now, and I will be. April looked up at him, her eyes glassy but strong. Then start with the truth. He furrowed his brow. What truth? I'm not going to make it, Dylan. His stomach dropped. I've made peace with that, she said. But Lily hasn't. She's just a kid, and she needs something real to hold on to. April reached into her bag and pulled out a folded sheet of paper. I want you to have full guardianship. If I die. Dylan stared at it, frozen. The weight of fatherhood, not in theory, not on paper, but real, hit him like thunder. She doesn't know me, he whispered. She already loves you, April said softly. She just doesn't know why yet. The next day, Dylan showed up to Lily's preschool in Greenwood. She was sitting on the carpet during story time, hugging her stuffed bear, completely unaware her world was about to shift. When she spotted him, her face lit up. Mr. Dylan, he crouched beside her. Hey, kiddo, I brought you something. From his coat pocket, he pulled out a small book, The Moon Belongs to Lily. I wrote it last night, he said, a little embarrassed. She flipped through the pages, eyes wide. That's me. That's you, he smiled. And guess who the daddy is, she pointed. You only if you'll let me. She threw her arms around his neck and whispered, okay. But as they walked out together, a black SUV pulled up at the curb. A man stepped out. Clean cut, expensive watch, cold stare. April's voice echoed in Dylan's memory. Lily has no one else. Turns out she was wrong. Mr. Mercer, the man said, holding out a card. My name is Brian Aldridge. I'm here on behalf of my client. Dylan read the card. Family court. Custody motion. Temporary guardianship challenge. The man smirked. He claims to be Lily's biological grandfather, and he wants her. Dylan's jaw clenched. Not a chance. The man smiled. See you in court. Thanks for watching. Sorry for the interruption, but we hope you will help us improve our content in the future. If someone came forward to take custody of your child, a stranger with money and legal power, would you fight back or walk away? Drop a comment if you believe Dylan should go all in for Lily. And tell us, where are you watching from today? Your city or country might show up in our next video. Share this with someone who believes being a parent isn't about blood, it's about showing up. Dylan Mercer stood outside the family courtroom in downtown Seattle, holding Lily's tiny hand while she clutched her stuffed bear to her chest. Inside those heavy doors waited Brian Aldridge, a man who claimed he had a moral right to take Lily April's estranged father, a corporate lawyer with resources connections, and not a single ounce of love for the child he was fighting to claim. In April, she was gone. Just days before the court hearing, April passed away quietly at Ridgeview Medical Center. Her final wish, handwritten and tear-stained, sat in Dylan's briefcase. Give Lily the life I never had. He promised her he would. Now it was time to prove it. The judge was a woman in her 60s with steely eyes and no time for sentiment. Aldridge opened with confidence, his lawyer painting Dylan as a latecomer who had no formal claim and only recently entered Lily's life. Mr. Mercer was unaware of the child's existence until a week ago, the attorney said coolly. Whereas Mr. Aldridge, though estranged from his daughter, remains her only living blood relative with a stable established home, Dylan stood slowly, every eye on him. Your Honor, he began, for most of my life, I believe success was built on control, spreadsheets, deals, quarterly returns. I had no idea what love could look like until a child picked up a phone and told me I was her dad. He paused, locking eyes with the judge. I may have come into Lily's life late, but I didn't come in halfway. Since that day, I've been there every morning, every night. I know how she takes her hot chocolate, 2 marshmallows, 1 for each of us. I know she hums when she draws and she can't fall asleep unless someone reads to her in a silly voice. The judge's gaze softened slightly. I know she's afraid of thunderstorms, but she pretends not to be because she doesn't want anyone to think she's weak. And I know that April, her mother, spent every last breath praying I would protect her. He reached into his bag and held up a folder. Letters, April's guardianship declaration, photos, a DNA match confirming I'm Lily's father, and finally a signed affidavit from Dr. Monica Hale documenting how Lily's life may depend on me one day. He turned toward Aldridge. You want to know why he wasn't at April's funeral? Because he didn't care about her in life, and he doesn't care about Lily now. He wants to win a case. I want to raise a daughter. A hush fell over the courtroom. The judge closed her folder. I'll make my ruling by tomorrow. That night, Dylan sat with Lily on the rooftop garden of his building, wrapped in a blanket, staring at the stars. Do you think Mommy can see us? Lily whispered. He nodded. I think she never left. They sat in silence, the city glowing below. Are you scared? She asked. Dylan thought for a moment. Yeah, but not of losing. I'm scared of not doing this right, of not being enough for you. Lily turned and looked at him, so small and yet so wise. You don't have to be perfect, she said. You just have to stay. The next morning, the courtroom was silent as the judge returned with her decision. In all matters concerning children, we are guided not by perfection, but by love, stability, and intent. She looked down at Dylan. Mr. Mercer, while you arrived late, you have proven beyond any doubt that your commitment is genuine, your actions immediate, and your love undeniable. She turned to Aldridge. Mr. Aldridge, your petition is denied. Bang! The gavel echoed. The battle was over. Lily ran to Dylan, tears bursting from her eyes. We can go home now, he held her tight. Yeah, kiddo, we're already there. 6 months later, Mercer Technologies looked very different. Dylan stepped down as CEO and appointed a new president, someone with time fire and no reason to miss bedtime stories. He launched a new foundation, the Lily April Project, dedicated to helping single parents find stable housing, childcare, and medical support. Every week, he visited hospitals and women's shelters, not as a billionaire, but as a man who once missed the most important call of his life. And every night, he walked into a pink and purple bedroom, kissed a little girl goodnight, and read, "The Moon Belongs to Lily," the book they now read together. On a bright spring morning, Lily stood on a stage at her kindergarten graduation. She wore a tiny cap and gown and held her speech with both hands. "My mommy went to heaven," she said softly. "But before she left, she gave me the best gift. She gave me my dad." She looked out at the crowd. He didn't know I existed, but when he found out, he didn't run. He stayed. And now we're a team. She turned, smiling at Dylan in the front row. "And Daddy, I love you more than all the stars." The crowd stood and clapped, but Dylan didn't move. He just cried. The kind of tears a man sheds when he realizes, maybe for the first time, he didn't just find a daughter. He found his whole world. Thanks for watching. Sorry for the interruption. But we hope you will help us improve our content in the future. Do you believe love can grow after loss, even between two strangers bound by blood? If this story touched your heart, comment 100 below to let us know you watched to the end. And where are you watching from? Drop your country or city in the comments. Your stories matter too. Share this video with someone who needs a reminder that family isn't always chosen. Sometimes it finds you.